Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome. See some friendly faces on here. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Normally, I don't allow people to go off mute, but for you, I allow it. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are really excited about this topic and really excited that you're excited about this topic. My name is Brittany Wynn. I'm Director of Communications here at First Tee, and I've been working a lot with our team to come up with this concept of webinar, these connect and collaborate sessions. So this is our second virtual one of the year, and the topic today, as you all know, is on engaging your alumni, something we're really passionate about and we're excited to dive into. So, our hope today is that you're going to leave here with some new peer connections, but you're also going to leave with some really practical ideas for you to be able to implement right away at your chapter. So, we're going to talk about some different tactics on how to keep your teens engaged with your chapter. And like I said, we hope that you find at least one practical idea, one nugget that you can take back to your team and see if it will work well for you. So, in just a little bit, you're going to hear from two of my colleagues here at First Tee headquarters. But more importantly, they're my friends. So, the first one, you all know and love him. Yes, of course, the fabulous Brandon Luna. And the second, you may not know her yet, but if you don't, you are lucky because you're going to love her too, Allison Molong. So, these two really have built the First Tee Alumni Network program from the ground up. So we're really excited to have them here today. We're going to kick off with Brandon in just a bit. He is going to share a little bit about our strategy from headquarters and just give you a bit of the bigger picture. And then, Allie, if you want to kick over to the agenda slide, please. Thank you. After Brandon, we're going to get to the magic and the heart of this. You're going to hear from three of your chapter leaders, your fellow leaders who are doing a great job in their communities on keeping their teens engaged at their chapter. So, this is where the magic's going to happen. We encourage you throughout the session to ask questions in the chat. We will get to those questions. And today we're going to try something a little bit different than our last session. We're going to do a few breakout groups on each of the three main topics. So those will be about 15 minutes. If you don't feel comfortable asking a question in the main group, no worries. You'll have time to do that in the breakout group. So you will get to select based on which area you're most interested in. After about 15 minutes of breakout, we're going to come back as a full group, talk about some best practices, really wrap up. And then for those who are interested in learning more about the actual platform for the Alumni Network, encourage you to stay on. We've got Allie who's going to be able to dive into logging in, getting registered, and then really just all the different aspects of the network itself. So encourage all of you to join that. This session as a whole in the full group will be recorded. So we will definitely share that out along with all of the resources after we are done. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Brandon Luna.
Hello, everyone. It's so great to see so many familiar names on today. We really just appreciate you joining and learning a little bit more about engaging your alumni. And it's always fun to see that we have several First Tee full-time staff that are on this call that are alumni. So just a couple that I quickly saw: Sarah Ramsdale, Chantel out in South Dakota. I saw even at our own headquarters, Stephanie Polito, Gabby in San Antonio. So it's great to see so many alumni coming back and giving their time to the network and their talents as well. And we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later with Brian Ladet. So my role here is to just review sort of what our purpose is today for this session, and then give you just a quick insight into the strategic plan that we've put together for the First Tee Alumni Network. So I'll start with the purpose. Again, as Brittany mentioned, this is a collaborative session that we're hopeful that you'll gain best practices of how to transition your teens into alumni, some different ways to do that. Um, but more importantly, hopefully take, one or two key pieces of information or one or two of those best practices that you can start to implement right away, in the next couple weeks. I know that currently, schools are starting to prepare for graduation, and so that's a key moment for us. I know at headquarters to identifying potential alumni, and hopefully that'll be a time for you to do the same as well. So again, trying to create turnkey methods for you to connect and continue to engage your alumni after their sort of traditional programming time has ended with the chapter. So that's really, again, sort of the intention and purpose of our session today. And rather than just coming from headquarters, again, turning it over to our incredible chapter leaders to share some of their best practices. With that being said, over the next 2, 3 minutes here, I just want to give you some insights into really our alumni strategic plan. So our vision for this community is really to continue to foster lifelong connections and providing alumni with continuous growth opportunities. So that is the meat and potatoes of what we are trying to accomplish. Last year, we spent some time with our alumni developing this plan. It was really interesting to have them in person at the PGA Tour Global Home, and we had a 2-day session. And what we learned from that is that the first tee was meaningful for them. It provided them strong foundations. It continues to be fun, and it's comforting. And so that's sort of the reason why they come back or why they come to First Tee. And the reason why they stay is that, First Tees help to position them for success. And we hope to continue to do that with the alumni network. They want to give back. They want to make an impact through the program that, gave them so much as a junior participant. And that they're really truly rooted in a deep pride of association with First Tee. So when we went through that exercise with several alumni and the consulting agency we brought in, it was really nice to hear the words. And I think, no doubt in a lot of our communications with alumni that we have throughout the year, we hear those sentiments all the time. So I would say we have 3 goals with our strategic plan, and it's really focused on engagement. It's focused on recognition and recruitment. Um, and so that being said, though, what we're trying to develop and establish with the alumni network is this, value proposition, right? So for alumni, we want to be a place where they continue to have personal and professional development opportunities. It's an area where they get to build their community, whether that is socially or that is professionally. And it gives them a platform and opportunity to give back to First Tee. And although some of them, give back in terms of their engagement with headquarter initiatives, our end goal is to really drive our alumni back to chapters so that they're giving their time and talents to local chapters. Part of that value proposition does include chapters as well. And so, what we had really put together was the fact that this is an opportunity for chapters to continue to cultivate these relationships, whether it's with alumni from their that were part of their programming, or since we've had alumni move to new cities, whether it's for school or careers, just establishing this pipeline of future coaches, staff, board members, donors. Locally, that could be such a great tool for our chapter leadership to engage our, local alumni. So, and then continue to curate those impact stories, for marketing purposes, for fundraising purposes. It's really great to just continue to share those opportunities and really reflect back on those whole circle, those full circle moments that we hear very often within our alumni community. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of an oversight into what we're trying to accomplish with the alumni network and the strategies there. I will say this is still like a little bit of a startup business, so we're learning, right? We're learning, we're trying some things, figuring out what's working and what's not, so that we can continue to customize that so that it's beneficial for our alumni group. So with that, I'm gonna quickly introduce our incredible group here of chapter leaders that will be able to present some of their best practices. And so all good friends of mine. So happy to introduce and starting off with Derrick Elstob. Derrick is actually the Chief Operating Officer at First Tee Greater Austin. So today you're going to hear Derrick really talking about sort of some of the alumni events that their chapter puts on. And interestingly enough, I know a lot of chapters have scholarship programs. So Derrick's going to talk a little bit about what First Tee Greater Austin does with scholarships, and it's really intriguing, a little bit different way of how they look at it. So we're excited to have Derrick join us. Another good friend of mine, Mr. Brian Ladet, who is the executive director at First Tee Greater Houston. Brian this afternoon is going to talk about engaging alumni as full-time staff members, and also looking at their coaches and how they encourage alumni to be full-time coaches as well. And then last but certainly not least, probably the person I've known the longest on this call, Mr. Nick Nelson. We're happy to have him. Nick is the CEO of First Tee Monterey County. Nick has a tremendous in the chapter has a tremendous experience in bringing on alumni to serve as board members. So Nick will talk a little bit about that here shortly. So we are thrilled to have them all join us this afternoon. Really looking forward to what they'll share. So with that, I'll turn it over to Derrick to kick things off.
All right. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, everybody, for your time today. I got two things. We're going to talk about events and scholarships. And these are some of these slides that you can see. I found that we found the most engagement in success is when we changed we do lots of events, but two main ones, in my opinion. A golf-related one, where it's called More Than a Game. And it used to be where we'd have a full field up to 36 teams, each foursome that you would be included with a local celebrity. So at that time, I thought that was cool. Yeah, we got some celebrities here in Austin. You got Ben Crenshaw, Matthew McConaughey, all these guys, and then kind of teeters down a little bit. And that was great. And the players had a wonderful time and they're spending a lot of money to support First Tee. But we felt that what if we have our celebrities as our alumni captains? Let's make them the captains of the tournament, not have, all the people that are local celebrities, but how a lot of people put on golf tournaments with celebrities, but they can't do what we can do. We can showcase the talent here in Austin. And these kids in this program that are not only great at golf, but they also can serve as a whole experience. So when we have this tournament of 144 players, we invite all of our alumni to come join us and play in a group. And we also have our participants that are golf ready to join it. And I think that's just wonderful for the donors to be playing with the First Tee kids to see their youth development. At the end of the tournament, it's just wonderful. Of course, we want to see who won, but the stories of, oh, this gentleman was so kind and respectful, or he had shared a special hobby of playing the piano. But by really showcasing our alumni and our participants in our golf event, I believe has created almost a competition. We do it every year, and all the alumni get really excited to join us. And it's actually a two-part fundraising event with a golf, and also we have a live and silent auction. We used to do it back-to-back days. That was a little bit much, so now we've integrated into about a 2-week period. But we also invite our alumni to our live and silent auctions because they can be the MCs. They can be the ones that are introducing themselves of how First Tee impacted their lives, and they're meeting and greeting the donors at our parties and events. So I really think having alumni and participants in our field of golf and our parties really showcases our students. Another one that we created a scholarship fund for high school seniors and for secondary education. We piggybacked it off of an event that was created by one of our founders, the Trail of Lights that happens in Austin every December. And so we had the opportunity to have a space on this day at the Trail of Lights. If no one's heard about it, you should look it up. But they created a little space for us where we are there our event is to celebrate the success of each participant in an age group. We have 9 awards for each core value. So for the 7 and 9 ages, we have someone will receive the Respect Award, Confidence Award, whatever it may be. So we have some pictures that you can see on the slides that will have the students that are receiving their Confidence Award or Respectful Award, and they're all excited about it. But then that's followed up at the end with a scholarship program that my lovely boss, Jennifer McCurra, knows or created. And it's in line with the 9 Core Values event. And so what we do is that we invite them to also come out and talk about their experiences to the kids, right? All these kids are in the audience accepting the awards. And at the end, we present these high school seniors with their scholarship. So it started off with 1 year. It was based in memory of a wonderful board member that passed away in a tragic plane accident in 2017, who displayed all of the core values and was really into secondary education. And so Jennifer was able to create this fund in memory of him. And then after that, we also created another fund for our participants that are going to secondary education. So, and in this time with our alumni, when they receive this award, they have to apply for, it's requirements. It's like sign up for an application of a scholarship where you need to have 100 hours of service throughout your career at First Tee, be active in our program for over 3 years. And then continuing that, when you go to your school, if you want to continue the secondary education, we then require you to volunteer or to participate in any of our events. We require usually 28 hours of service. And our program has grown from 3 or 4 seniors to now we have close to 25 or 30 currently in our alumni scholarship program, which is wonderful. And it's very helpful for me because, you know, these students earn this, but they're also going to continue to earn this money that they've been given through volunteering. So it's very helpful for me to utilize them in aspects of their expertise. If I need help with a Google Forms or coaching or someone that's really good with social media or even helping out our donor relations, I've created pretty good relationships with most of our alumni where I can just put them on text or, hey, can you help me with this? And I think, you know, it's the goodness of their heart, but also they know we all are in this business or they're in the business for opportunities and experiences. And the First Tee National provides so many wonderful things, but it's just great that we have our graduating class, you know, because some of these seniors in these pictures don't go to the same school, but they're all First Tee graduating classes of Austin. It was really nice during COVID when they didn't get to have a graduation. So we actually had it out here at our property and had a graduating class with all the seniors as well. And it's just been wonderful having, you know, and this is a great way to check in with our seniors. And that's about it right there. We also have the 9 Core Values luncheon was something that we did to recognize our donors and fundraisers. But that's also another good thing to have to invite our alumni because our events are on the same time of year. So as long as that's, you know, on their calendar, they're able to circle that on there. And another one we do is just end of year lunches at the end of the summer, just checking in on everybody. Hopefully can find a nice time and place to meet and hear how everyone's doing with their experiences. And, you know, it's full circle, as Brandon says, you know, from kid to teen and teen to alumni, and then maybe alumni to donor or volunteer, because we've had some of these students that are actually playing with their employer now, which is also a great experience. So I think just keeping them on your phone and checking in with them constantly and seeing how they can help us, but also how we can help them just pass, because all these events that you all have created for them in school is incredible. And now with the First Tee Connect for the alumni, how they can, you know, with the First Tee participants, we could always say, if you're, you know, you're always going to be a member at First Tee, you can find something close to Houston, Austin, San Antonio. But for the ones that Brandon said that are out of the state, how can they get connected and connect them with their local First Tee chapters, which I think is a great idea. So anyways, if you have any personal questions, please reach out to myself or the person that's smarter than me, Jennifer McCurra, who's created all these wonderful ideas and fun. So she's amazing as well. So I don't think she's on either. So no brownie points there. I hope that wasn't too much rambling, but thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. I'll go ahead and step in. This is Brian Ladet with First Tee Greater Houston. Thank you, Derrick, for sharing that. Engaging your team participants in events is so important at your chapter and to transitioning them into alumni. He spoke about the core value luncheon that they do there at Greater Austin. Our chapter actually borrowed that event and have been doing it for several years. And it's also an opportunity for us to invite alumni to come and speak and share about their journey with First Tee and the impact that it has had on their lives. Just to give you a little bit of background on myself, my first involvement with First Tee when I was in school, I actually served as an intern with our chapter that was just getting started here in the Greater Houston area. So I've been at it for a little while. I actually feel like an alumni myself, even though I wasn't part of the program, but it is definitely very near and dear to my heart. So, I was able to experience a lot of things with the First Tee. One, serving as a coach in the Life Skills and Leadership Academy, where Nick Nelson was actually my first color group leader back in the day. So shout out to him. But here in Houston, we're definitely focused on giving and providing opportunities to our alumni, and that starts with first engaging them when they're teens. We have a pretty healthy, ACE group here with our chapter. And if you're fortunate enough to have that, definitely lean into the project that involves, giving back and community involvement. So a lot of our ACE participants volunteer with us coaching some of the younger classes. And that really lends itself to not only their involvement and their progression, but it also assists the chapter, absolutely. But it also transitioned to opportunities for them from being able to serve with us on a part-time staff basis after they've completed high school, as well as internships that we offer. Each summer we have several of them, and we definitely look, if available, to involve alumni from our chapter because kind of falling back on the mission of the First Tee, it's our responsibility to have that positive impact and try to create opportunities for them. And what better opportunity than to give them that chance to make an impact and earn a little bit of money when they're on their way, to a higher level of education. So it's always a pleasure. They definitely understand what the program is about, having experienced it themselves, and know the kind of impact that we're looking to have on the young people that we serve. Um, so also from a full-time staff perspective, we also definitely look to involve our alumni. There are actually two full-time staff members on our current staff that are alumni of the First Tee. And neither one of them are actually from our chapter. One is from the First Tee of Fort Worth, and one is from the First Tee of Central Arkansas. And when you're in the position to be able to bring on individuals onto your team and you're reviewing resumes, it's definitely very attractive to us to be able to provide that opportunity to an alumni of the First Tee program. And it's just been a pleasure working with them thus far. And hopeful to continue, in that regard in the future and in continuing to make that impact. Um, we've definitely leaned into highlighting and engaging our alumni. Last year, our chapter was celebrating our 20th anniversary, and we actually reached out to more than 20 of our alumni to check in with them, ask permission to feature them on our chapter website in conjunction with this celebration, have them provide some input about their journey with First Tee and give us an update of, kind of where they are now. And that still lives on the homepage of our chapter website under the menu bar. So I definitely encourage you to go and check that out. That's one way to stay engaged. Another way is national opportunities that when they're active with the First Tee, not only does that heighten their experience, and it also connects them to so many other participants across the First Tee network. And I definitely believe that that encourages them to stay connected just from that experience that they have, with the different opportunities if they're fortunate enough to be selected. And at the alumni meetups that we've been fortunate enough to have a couple of them here in the Houston area, that's facilitated by First THQ. Just seeing the different alumni, how some of them don't even know each other, but they go right in because it's such a family oriented environment and atmosphere. So I'm so happy that First T headquarters has really leaned into that and provides so many opportunities across the country for alumni to meet up and to stay engaged and to stay connected. Locally with our chapter, we have a few volunteer coaches that are actually alumni of the First Tee as well. We have one that's from the First Tee of Cleveland. He just happened to be living in Houston through the career path that he's chosen, and he felt connected enough to the First Tee network to want to get involved here locally. And he's gone through the coach program, and he teaches classes with us each and every week on a volunteer basis. So that's just the kind of impact and connection that young people it can have when the program touches them in the appropriate way. So again, I'm so happy that First THQ has leaned into this alumni aspect and creating opportunities for them to stay engaged. And if you do have the opportunity to have an alumni serve as an intern or a part-time worker, or even a full-time staff member, I definitely would encourage you to explore that. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it on to one of the legends, Nick Nelson from First Tee of Monterey County.
Referred to my age rather than being very effective in the network. But yeah, thanks, Brian, and thanks, Derrick. I've learned a lot already. I appreciate being a part of this great panel, and thanks to the Home Office for creating it, making it at all possible. We did have a lot of fun, didn't we, in the academy? Man, oh man, that's a few years ago. I looked in my drawer just now, see if I could find the photograph of us looking like drowned rats because it poured with the rain. But anyway, back to topic. First of all, I'm very pleased that I'm not wearing the same shirt that I've got on in the photograph. So that was a relief when I saw that pop up. And my role today is really to kind of tie in the first two subject matters with alumni. Sort of, looking at the cradle to grave that
I
Derrick,
didn't understand. So like these
Derrick
all
talked about.
seem to go together and love like.
And I've kind of lost my thread. I was trying to listen on that conversation, see if it was any good. Anyway, so yeah, so my main focus is really going to be sort of about the end of the journey, and we've already got a couple of alumni on our board of directors. But before I get into that, I just wanted to share a little bit about the events and scholarships and staff coaches that Brian shared on, and just from our perspective. I think the alumni program, and especially with alumni being board members, really supports the belief that we have that we're more than a youth development organization, but we're a people development organization. And I say that because it develops the alumni when they're on the board. We've seen huge steps in their growth as a philanthropist, as a giver, as a team member. But I've also seen growth with our board, and our board consists currently of 23 board members, and they're all, handpicked, high net worth individuals. We have a large budget, so we've got a big nut to crack every year, and these established, successful business people, both men and women, they're learning from our alumni, and it's so great, and every one of them are very appreciative of what they bring. Some of the chat. I know I'm supposed to talk about those stuff first, but I'm talking about the board stuff now. I'll get back to the staff and coaches, events and scholarships. But one of the big things, one of the challenges for an alumni when they're on the board, certainly with a board that's sort of pretty affluent, they start talking about, but Nick, I can't give the kind of money that our board members give. I'm just starting out. I've only been working for 5 years, and I'm at this level, and they're way beyond that. And it's really fun because we can still continue to apply, the first T curriculum. And I was just go back to personal power. And I just say, oh, wait a minute, let's remember when we did personal power, and you're hacking it along on, the golf course, and you wanted to be like the people that were older than you. Let's just play personal power in this. And like, oh, I get it. Okay, so they give what they can. So, with the three buckets, that we hope from a board member, the three T's: time, treasure, talent. They bring treasure, absolutely. It's relative. Talent, totally different perspective. Totally different perspective. Being again, getting into diversity, equity, and inclusion. And having a much broader range of opinions. It's been invaluable having both of these board members, both these alumni as board members. They bring a different perspective to it. And then from the established board member perspective, they see the proof in the pudding. Some of our board members, have been unable to get out to the chapter and see the operations, because we're miles away from where they live on the Monterey Peninsula. We're 14 miles, but in our terms, in Monterey County terms, that's a mile, and then don't have an opportunity to get out here. But with them being engaged on the board, it gives board members a first-hand opportunity to see what we do, to see the lives that we change, to see the impact that we have, to see the poise and the elegance that these young adults speak with, and the way they conduct themselves in these meetings. And again, just I'm just saying it as it is. Our board members, that they're on other boards as well, and big giant, Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies, and so they've been in some pretty effective board meetings and with board groups, and they really enjoy them being there, and they learn a lot from them as well. And so to me, that's just win-win. The other thing as well is within the community, and we talk about our, people say, well, who's on your board? And we start giving them a list, and then we say, oh, well, these two here, it's a boy and a girl, male and female, and we say, well, these are two alumni, and all of a sudden it sort of changes, the atmosphere of the conversation, and that really tells about that. So it's sort of, it's not just win-win, it's win-win-win. It's the third win is within the community, because of the sort of reaction that people will have, and see that we're just not a group of, the board's not just a group of, white, rich, old people. And, but it does reflect the chapter. And if you take a look at the numbers, if we've got currently 23 board members, we've got 2 alumni, that's 10%, and that's huge. Talking of percentages, I'll just jump on to what Brian was talking about with staff and coaches. At one time, we had, I think it was like 86% of our coaches were former first team participants, were alumni. It was phenomenal, and I think now we're at about 60%. But the impact that we have on their lives goes so much deeper than we ever really imagined. The impact, goes deep to where there's a calling in a lot of these young kids' lives, and they want to give back to the first team, and so that's one of the reasons why, they volunteer as or volunteer themselves to come and work for us at the first team. And I think the same thing's true, with them being board members. We do have the challenges we've had just with general alumni, again, is communication, and get them engaged. And there really is we found a very simple solution to it. And that was designate someone on staff to engage alumni, period. If you give it to someone, and they're coaching, 80% of the time, and like, oh, we can put this on their plate as well, and they can follow up with alumni, it gets done, 20% effectively. But if you give it to someone who's who's got a bigger plate or a plate with less stuff on it, and they focus in on this, then it's amazing what happens. And I think the same is true in any area of our business. And since we've done that, we've got I mean, I think we've got over 50 alumni, the registered. We've got a little form that they fill in. We're working on getting sort of a bit more higher tech and having a QR code that they can just zap it and fill in their information. We have events for them. The biggest event is the Christmas party. We call it the Teen and Alumni Christmas Party. So we engage teens and alumni together, and give them all the food that they want, Wingstop food and fries from McDonald's, and they're happy. And but there's and we have board members coming along as well, and we also have our 2 alumni board members. So again, just the dynamic that it creates is excellent. I would recommend it was planned. I mean, we definitely planned to engage our alumni on the board. I mean, it was a decision that the board made. They're a full voting member of the board of First Team Monterey County, and so it's again, I say it's just win-win-win, and it proves who we are. So I'm looking forward to our breakout sessions, and we'll host any questions, and further when we get going.
Awesome.
All right, that's all I'm going to give you today, Brandon and Brittany. That's it.
I think we could just listen to you all day. That was great.
That's only because of my accent. It's nothing to do with the
It's
content.
nothing to do with the accent, no. And we agree too. We're really excited to add 2 First Year alumni to the national board as well last year. So Sydney Burleson and Rayshawn Payton are now members of our First Year board at HQ. And so it's just been such an incredible thing to see. And candidly speaking, when you think about, First Tee staff and leaders who are alumni, it's been incredible in calls like this, program leader orientation, CEO orientations, different webinars, to see how many on the call are true alumni. And there is just that extra element of engagement. And I mean, they've bought into First Tee, like they're results of the program. And so I know, just from my perspective too, to see those numbers just to hear the stories of people coming back and giving back and just being invested, involved at whatever level that will be. It's incredible. The alumni network, I think, as a whole it's a very long-term program. I know from a chapter's perspective, you are all inundated with a million tasks of what you have to do every day to keep your chapters running. This is an extra thing on top of that to try and keep kids and then adults engaged in your program. But hopefully today's conversation has really jump-started that to be able to see what that can mean for you at your chapter and what that can mean for the alumni. So as Nick mentioned, we're going to do about 10 minutes of breakouts. If you want to learn more about one of these areas, feel free to jump into that room. If you have a question for 2 of the people, you can switch between rooms too. I'll give a little 2-3 minute warning when we're going to come back as a full group with a few additional updates, and then dive into the platform a little bit. All right, have fun. Is everybody seeing the breakouts? Great.
I don't think so, Brittany.
Wait, are you seeing them now?
Oh, join breakout. Here we go.
Mine popped up at the bottom.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Sorry if your conversation got cut off. Welcome back. Hopefully you all had some great discussion. I'm going to kick it back over to Brandon to bring us home.
Yeah. No, thank you, Brittany. I know Carrie, Gabby were in our breakout session with Nick, and there was some really great conversation. So appreciate you all breaking out. And so what we'll do is I want to spend just a couple minutes. I want to make sure that we give time we're mindful of your time today, and we still have an opportunity to walk through the Alumni Network platform for those who aren't familiar. But as we talk about just sort of, coming back full circle from today's conversation, we have some incredible opportunities and best practices that I think that were shared today, of ways to, at least start, right? Alumni engagement, like you just got to start somewhere. And so if there are one or two ways that hopefully you walked away today with some ideas, then that's a starting point. And as Brittany mentioned earlier, both Allison and myself are here to support in any way we can from First Tee headquarters. We're a powerful team of two. But we're here to support you all as you develop local alumni strategy. So just to share a couple sort of exit strategies that I wanted to touch on. We talked about scholarships. If you have a local scholarship program for seniors, one thing that would be really simple to do is, as part of their application process, that registering for the First Tee Alumni Network is part of their application process. And we've seen that work with several chapters implementing that. I know our friends in DC and Florida Gold Coast do that. And it's just a really easy way to start essentially tracking your alumni and getting them involved so that they are aware of opportunities that are available to them. So whether they get the scholarship locally or they don't, they're still part of this alumni community and there's opportunities for them. So that's, again, a really small sort of turnkey way to engage. We talked a lot about some of the best practices today, identifying opportunities for alumni to serve as interns, volunteer staff, looking at board member opportunities, events, right? You all are already planning great events that happen throughout the year. So now it's just trying to, are there one or two that possibly have an opportunity to engage your alumni, bringing in alumni to speak at some of your fundraising events or even, sort of larger fundraisers. Those are opportunities to simply engage your alumni. I will say the intranet has been sort of reworked a little bit. So the alumni page there, which I think, yeah, Brittany's clicked on here. There's a lot of great information there for, storytelling pieces, right? Or content related to storytelling. So there are sample write-ups in social media posts. There's sample templates for newsletters. We see a lot of chapters starting to incorporate like an alumni corner, an alumni update quarterly in their newsletter. So all of those sort of resources are on the intranet and there for you to click on. There's outreach copy, right? So when you're starting to reach out, there's to your alumni, there's some content there and flyers. So I would just really encourage you all to go onto our internal page on the intranet and check out the resources section under alumni, because a lot of that is already created and built for you so that you can essentially plug and play. Again, we are doing our best to try to make these sort of alumni outreach opportunities turnkey for chapters. And that being said, if you think of something that would be helpful, like, please make sure you either make Allison or myself aware, because as I mentioned, this is a startup. We're still trying to figure some things out. So the more that we can create resources for our chapters to make it easy to reach out to their alumni, we'll obviously open to all of those suggestions and comments. So with that being said, I do want to turn it over to Brittany here as we wrap up, and then we'll transition to Allie to walk through the alumni platform. But another suggestion or a best practice, maybe you're not ready to have board members or alumni as board members, but one of the successes we've seen with our friends at First Tee of Greater San Francisco is like their young professional groups, and in those young professional groups, they're recruiting some of their alumni to participate in that. And so again, like that's sort of a step in the right direction to eventually get maybe an alumni on the board. So there's definitely some success stories in the network of board members and also, as I mentioned, the young professional groups as well. Brittany, anything else before we turn it over to Allie to walk through the platform?
No, I just, want to thank everybody. If you do still have questions for us or for any of the chapters, please drop them in. We'll follow up today's session with the recording, with this deck, and then with any other resources, the same links to the platform itself, as well as to the intranet too. So if you missed those in the chat, don't worry, we will send them directly to you. We are also going to ask for your feedback on today's session. So we're hosting more topical sessions like this in the future, but we really want to hear from you and make sure if there's something that would be helpful, that you're sharing that with us, and then we can put something together, find some leaders in the network who we think are doing a really great job in those areas. And we want these to be as beneficial for you as possible. So tell us what worked, tell us what didn't work, more importantly, and how we can do a better job. Like I said, these are helpful to get that feedback on. So we want to tweak these and make them the best for you. So, Allie, I'm going to turn it over to you. If you were already very familiar with the platform, just want to say thank you so much. Don't feel like you have to stay on. We value your time, and just want to thank you for being here. But Allie, let's go ahead and dive into the platform itself.
Thanks, Brittany, and thanks, everybody. If you're going to stay on, I'll just give those who are leaving just a second to pop off. I do see that Gabby asked a question in the chat as far as communications to the whole alumni network, specifically around when needing to hire someone. Is that in place? Gabby, we are open to posting, and I'll get into that when we get into the platform, but we do post any job or internship opportunities out to the alumni through the alumni network platform here, and I'll get into that. But that is an option for you guys to either post directly on the feed, or you can email me directly and I can get that posted. So this is our beautiful First Tee alumni platform. Everybody's seeing the screen. All good there? This is the homepage that you'll be brought to when you are looking to either register or log in. If you're already registered, you'll just sign in. If you're not, I do encourage all of you on this call today to go ahead and join now. When you join, you'll want to join as a chapter network staff member. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. When I sign in, this is the home page that is displayed. So I can see on the left side of the screen here, we have our home page, our feed, our directory, some jobs and internships, groups, and events. Those are probably the most important pieces of information or places that you'll visit when you're joining the platform. I will start with our feed. This here is where we can post different opportunities. So you'll see Jazz with our scholarship program. She posts a lot of engagement opportunities for them. Looks like they're doing a First Tee flashback to a funniest moment. I have also posted several different opportunities here for our lunch and learns. Brandon has posted information about a First Tee week alumni meetup that we'll have in Fort Worth at the Charles Schwab in a few weeks. So this feed is where you are open to posting any updates. I would say it's like a Facebook feed or a LinkedIn feed where you're just sharing updates about either your personal or professional life. We would love to see a lot more engagement from Chapter Network staff members on this feed, so it's not just Brendan and I posting all the time. So that would be really awesome if you want to join and engage that way. Just give updates about what your alumni are doing at your chapter currently, etc. Another important piece is going to be the directory. This is where you'll be able to search for people. I really like to utilize the map feature. So this opens up to a map of a map of the United States. If you zoom out, you can zoom into pretty much anywhere and see where your current alumni are. So this is just a very broad overview of where a bunch of alumni are currently living. zoom into Houston, you can see everybody who's registered there in and around the area as well. So I do encourage you to check out the directory, whether you're looking in the list form, you're searching for somebody, or you're looking through the map form. But that is going to be your tool or your resource to look for alumni that you're like, oh, I wonder if John Smith from my chapter is registered. If he's not, I want to get him on the platform.
Really quick, Allie, another cool thing about that feature too is when you think about alumni who've moved, like obviously we get new jobs, we move across the country. So there could be first T alumni from East Coast that have moved to the West Coast. They're in your area. Like they'd be really great to get engaged with your chapter. So that's just another great use case that we've seen with the map too.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
Bernie. And to go off of that, if you see here filter by on the right side, you can look by name, last name, of their affiliation. So if they're an alum, maybe you're looking for another chapter staff member, a scholarship program person, can filter by affiliation. You can also filter by location. So if I wanted to do Houston, Texas, and I just wanted to see just my Houston, Texas folks, that is an area where you can go and you can just search and you'll see everybody who is currently on the platform. Obviously, there's a lot from our friends in Greater Houston, so shout out to them. Would love to see obviously as many people as we can here. I'm going to pop over to our job and internship page. Currently, we only have one job posted right now. Several of our jobs have either expired or been filled, but this is where you'll see not only First Tee network jobs, but we do get jobs from our partners, whether it's Topgolf, Callaway. We've had a few folks from AWS have a few alumni get jobs at AWS through posting here on the platform. This is good for full-time jobs, part-time jobs, coaching jobs, paid internships, unpaid internships, anything that you're looking to post can get posted here. This does have to go through me as a site admin, so please feel free to take my email down and email anything that you would like posted. Last page I'm going to touch on is the events page. This is where all of either HQ events or HQ partner-led events will kind of be hosted or held here. You can see you can register, you can pop into an event, see what is the event is all about. You can see some people that are also registered for the event, so you can see who you'll be seeing at those events. But this is our events page, our most active page. You can see these are our alumni meetups that we have throughout the rest of the year. And so if you have an event or you want to know people in your area, please reach out and let me know. The last piece I want to touch on that is really important and why we try to really encourage alumni to join this platform. It's not because it's just another platform that First Tee Network has to get you guys on. It's a data resource, right? So when they're registering, we're getting their first name, their last name, their email, date of birth, ethnicity, gender, where they're currently living. We're getting their college information, their job information, whatever they feel comfortable filling out, that's what they'll fill out. And I'm able to pull specific reports, clean through them, and then provide them to you guys as chapters. So if someone was looking for a current report of alumni that are registered on the alumni platform, please feel free to reach out to me. I can pull that for you. And so when we are really pushing, technically any alum is a part of the alumni network, but by having them register on the alumni platform, we are then able to house their information and their data. And so that is not only we want to see them, in what they're doing, but in where they're living, but we also, need that data as well. That is just a very brief overview of what the Alumni Network is. We have other parts of the platform like groups where people can make chapter-specific groups. I know we are a little over time, but happy to jump into that offline if anybody's interested in learning more about the platform.
Yeah, appreciate that, Ali. I will mention, to Ali's point earlier that, some of the issues that we've seen or some of the challenges that chapters have mentioned is sort of the tracking alumni. And so, by getting them on this platform, it is a way that we can get better information for those individuals so that it's helping you and us in terms of tracking our alumni and just continuing to share those stories. And going back to sort of the three goals of our strategic plan for alumni is, again, it's recruitment, recognition, and engagement. So, as we continue to grow our alumni group in numbers, we don't necessarily start there. We're really focused on the relationship building aspect, but we know that there's a correlation between the more alumni that we get on the platform and that are active, the more engagement opportunities that our sponsors are going to want to engage with, the more that we can do at headquarters to engage that alumni community, and then also to recognize our incredible alumni. So we do have a couple items that will be sort of updating throughout the year that we're excited to announce as we continue to grow this alumni community. But there's no doubt that the chapter support, your support, is crucial to our growth. And it's a long-term strategy, but we're excited to be a part of it. We're excited to collaborate with you all to continue to provide incredible opportunities for our alumni community now and in the future. So with that, we just truly appreciate everyone's time and abilities here to come and collaborate on some of these best practices. So
Awesome. Thank you guys for joining. We'll follow up with details, and as always, reach out if you have any questions or need additional support. Good to see you all.
yes, thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.